Salutations, utopians. Hope all is well. So, I just want to talk a little bit about this coaching carousel. As we all know, there's been some hirings this offseason, some first time coaches like in Jacksonville, and then you got some names that are familiar faces, with respect to Pete Carroll going to the Raiders. But I've learned some fascinating things, and in real time from last night. I'm all about equality and fairness. And I'll tell you, I want to be very clear. I feel like it should be on both sides, both ends. I stand up for everybody who I think, the unsung heroes, that's the real reason behind Global Utopia Sports. And so when I see, injustice, I speak up for it. And I speak up for everyone because I feel like every party is falsely done sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And so it's not just black, white, it's not just black, Asian, Hispanic, it's also white people. I speak up for everybody. When I see wrong, women, man, whatever. And so I'm going to be real with you. I'm watching how the NFL coaching search works, and I've unlocked a pebble. Let's get right to it. Chicago, speaking of teams that are hiring a first-time head coach, originally, before the season was over and the Detroit Lions were in the playoffs, I watched the Bears and Ryan Pohl signal they would like to talk to Mike McCarthy. And that's what this whole video is about. Watch them say they want to talk to Mike McCarthy. Now, great, that's fine. Feel what you want to feel. I'm going to tell you first and foremost, solid coach. He'll get you to 9-7. Well, now whatever the new schedule is, but you know what I'm saying. He'll get you to sea level. He'll get you to above water if you're drowning. He'll get you on firm ground. He has won a Super Bowl. He did so with a all-time legendary top 5, maybe top 3 quarterback of all time in Aaron Rodgers, who was practically a magician, and the Packers just never really spent money on defense throughout history. But one thing I'm finding very irritating, right? After Jerry, who's now catching heat, Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm not here to represent a billionaire in any kind of way. Me, I cut it down the middle. If you see how I go, I don't care who you are. I speak fact on fact, fact on fact. Humanity, humility, all that is what I'm about. When I see, in the yin and the yang, when I see a guy like Jerry Jones reading the comment section, oh, he prevented Mike McCarthy from getting an interview with the Bears. First of all, no. Then they go hire Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions, the most innovative right now, not arguably, but, Andy Reid calls his play. So I'm not going to, let's just say he's up there with the Andy Reids, though, for sure. In terms of just when you watch the play, it's like this guy is out here drawing up magic, Harry Potter type plays, right? So he's been the hottest name on the coaching landscape for the last 2 years. Hottest name on the charts. Literally held up an offseason, turned a plane around on a franchise because they did something he didn't like. This guy is the creme de la creme. Okay? Guy turned down an opportunity to coach Jaden Daniels, who arguably before the rib injury was probably the best quarterback in the NFL. If you really want to talk about it, right? So, and literally wasn't the reason why they lost on Sunday. So, probably the most poised on that team. So, I'm watching this thing, and I'm like, okay, you really want me to believe? Because, look, insiders give gifts. There's a lot of behind the channels. The cat is out the bag. It's all on relationships, right? And it's like, do these guys, whose names are being brought up? Because I read something about Teddy Bridgewater, right? And this is kind of the people I'm speaking for, the Teddy Bridge guys who just, you know what I mean? They were saying that GM Trent Balk in Jacksonville prevented a lot of quality coaches, including the one they got now, who's a first-timer as well with Tampa Bay Bucks. He wasn't going to go there because Trent Balk. Everyone, no, Trent Balk, no. Leftwich cleared it up. I never said I would not go be a head coach under a GM like that, which he's been protected. I looked at his rejection was protection because now he's fired, Trent Bulk. And imagine getting hired into a situation where your GM is fired first year, after your first year. Now, you're getting paint spilled on you for nothing, right? But I'm watching the situation because remember, Teddy Bridgewater took over play calling duties after Bruce Arians went upstairs in the Tampa Bay situation after they got their championship, and then just kind of dumped this job on, the defensive coordinator who's now turned into a head coach, and then Bridgewater was in charge of working with Brady, trying to get that to work. Everyone knows that was an awkward situation from day one, man. It just, you know what I mean? They're one of the rules, and I don't believe in practicing that 48 laws of power, because ultimately, you know what I mean, some of the stuff is outdated, but there is some truth to everything they're stating, and one of them is don't step in the shoes of a great man. Sometimes you got to do that, but I'm just saying it's encouraged not to. If you can do your own thing, do your own thing. Don't try to step in the shoes of another great man, or woman for that matter, but that's just the way they worded it. But he did that, and he made the most out of it. And now they're saying that he doesn't want to coach. Oh, he's being picky. This guy's like, dude, my phone doesn't ring. Nobody's calling me. I just read a story about it. He's like, nobody's calling me nothing. Nobody on paper has a more qualified resume than Leftwich. He played. He was solid. He was anticipated to be a franchise quarterback. Just below that. He was just below that. But he's definitely going to make a damn good coach wherever he decides to go. He just says, I don't get phone calls. And his kids ask him, when are you going to coach again? When are you going to coach again? He's like, I think so. One day again, yeah. I would like to, And so kind of similar story how Aaron Glenn got back into coaching and then, over there in Detroit. Congrats to him. First-time head coach with the Jets. A lot of first-timers, right? And that's kind of the premise of this. McCarthy is, coming off that Dallas situation, and I'm going to tell you something. It really does feel like we've seen the last of the glory years of the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry has let it be known. I'm making my money. When I started this, it was a family-owned business. I want to keep it in-house. He kind of softened the blow of what has already been suspected, of the Cowboys. It's Jerry doesn't want no one bigger than him. When he said it's a family-owned business, he's letting you know, like, I'm not hiring anyone bigger than me. That was the softest way you could say, most polite way. This is my house. Nobody comes in here and tells me how to run my house. And that's just the way it's going to be. And the NFL loves it. They're like, I'm sure the NFL's like, great, cool. You know what I mean? We can, somebody else will be a champion. We don't have to, figure out a way to get the Cowboys in the cycle of winning the Super Bowl. You're just glad that you got a family business that's making money. And this latest hire, another first-time coach, and Schottenheimer, is indicative of that. I don't want to write him off, but for a first-time coach to go into a roster that flawed, with that quarterback monstrosity of a contract that I've multiple times said that is not the move you should make. That kind of money that they spent is absolutely ridiculous. Okay? And you see who started this whole thing. The Deshaun Watson signing in Cleveland was the ultimate downfall of why they made this signing in the first place, which wasn't smart. So now when we're watching this unravel, he goes to the Cowboys. I think the first 2 years, that was that window to win a championship. And when it didn't happen, guess what? It was all downhill from there. Now there's salary cap hell. You got an all-star WR1, who I think is more of a 2, but which is that's another headache in and of itself. Someone who wants to be a megastar and is not a WR1, but is a WR2, what do you call it? Masquerading as a 1, that's the worst. It's already hard enough to get the WR1s who are really worthy of being focused on. But then you got a WR2 who thinks he's a WR1. That's going to be a nightmare to deal with. And so you got that. You got one of the largest contracts in the NFL, if not the largest per year contract at quarterback. You got to do a rebuild. You're going to have to make sure you get these draft picks right. It doesn't look promising. So Mike McCarthy might be the last image of them actually having glory years, and you blew it. Mind you, in Green Bay, when his time was done there, Aaron Rodgers practically was left thinking about retiring. He was so frustrated with that situation. Then he said, nah, I can't go out like that. I got to go to the Jets and redeem myself, because I am one of the top 3 greatest of all time. And guess what? It blew up, imploded. First year injury. I think he was going to hop out the gate and go crazy. And then the second year, we seen what it was, epic disaster. The roster just was not properly equipped, but you chose to go there. Again, back to the fort. Never inherit the shoes of a great person, because he went and tried to do the same thing, the same story as Brett Favre. And guess what? Brett Favre was the guy he pushed out in Green Bay. I never liked that move to begin with. I don't think any veteran big name like Tom or any of those guys should be going somewhere like Denver when you know Peyton Manning went there. Don't go to the Jets if you're Aaron Rodgers when you know Brett Favre went there. This is not wise career choices, right? So now you got this situation, and I'm like, so he was supposed, now you got people, oh, well, Mike McCarthy was supposed to interview with the Chicago Bears, and Jerry cost him that. And then he went to the Saints, but he's going to wait till next cycle because, Saints are dead last in salary cap. They're like minus $84.1 million right now in salary cap. So nobody wants that job because of the salary cap hell. But I do believe for every will there's a way, because we've seen what Sean Payton did with the Broncos and that Russell Wilson contract. But with that being said, I'm telling you, what I'm thinking, what my problem is now, it seems like behind the scenes, there's people trying to prop him up, do image remake, and you see how the relationships work, because there is under no reason to be trying to do a brand makeover or some kind of pillowing this blow. Look, you blew the small window the Cowboys had. You didn't do well in Green. It's been a long time since you won a Super Bowl. The game has passed you over. At the very minimum, yeah, you should wait a cycle. But this notion of like trying to protect the image now, when it's like, bro, you've been sorry for quite a while. I'm just going to be honest. Been very lackluster. And remember, this is the same guy that made Skip Bayless lose a co-host because he was frustrated with the coaching tactics of the one and only Mike McCarthy. So it's not just Aaron Rodgers. It is Skip Bayless even on TV. Lost Jenny Taft because of this guy, talking about this guy and how frustrated he was. I'm just saying, it's amazing to watch in real time when there's someone that has relationship and they get that type of peppering, because at the end of the day, there's no reason we need to see any more, at least for a long time. Do I think, again, it can get you above water, but there's too many quality coaches, Eric Bieniemy, Teddy Bridgewater, candidates who have not been seen yet, and we'd like to see that. I'd like to see that. I just think it's unfortunate that this is the carousel that's going on. This is not a Mike Vrabel situation. Mike Vrabel was done foul in Tennessee. They got rid of his ace star, who's looking great still to this day, for no justifiable reason, without consulting him. He's supposed to be the coach there, and they didn't even consult him. And Tennessee had they had Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown on the same team, and you go and just completely implode this whole roster. And so what I'm saying is, this is not a Mike Vrabel situation. This is a guy who needs to be in a spot where you can wait a few cycles. I don't believe think about it. If you're the Bears, you didn't just sign him 2 days ago. You knew you had this in the bag. The way he was coaching the game, calling the game with Detroit, was kind of sketch against Washington. It was just like, why is Jameson Williams throwing the ball right now? Run the ball. Put the ball between the tackles. He felt like he was distracted. It was giving distracted. Aaron Glenn, it was giving distracted. Both coordinators gone in one off season. And so it's like, it's just like, oh, well, why don't we just make a story out of it? But it's just crazy because you'll say guys like, oh, Bridgewater didn't want to go in, didn't want the job in Jacksonville because of this GM. You'll use names just to keep them in the headlines, and just like slandering people's name, like making it seem like they're being particular and all that. And then this guy's over here, well, they're looking at Mike McCarthy, trying to like make him in. Where's that effort to get new time coaches in there? Where's that? It's just, there's a little bit of an imbalance, to be honest with you. And I thought it was a little sketch, but it is what it is. But it gave me a little insight on what it is, and I'm sharing it with you. All right, Utopians, I'll try to do better next time. Global, out.